Blessed always, for the arms of God surround us. Let our joy be so triumphant that we rest in God and say Amen. And then, and that's a very old, I believe it's Appalachian gospel song. And then we'll go into a chant to the Divine Mother. So we're going to sing Kali, Durgay, Namo, Namah. And
that's on first.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yay! Awesome. Second one. Won't even have to work that hard. And then there's also, I'm going to also throw in a Jaya, Jagadambe, JJ Ma, and some variations of that. So just a quick note about pronunciation, because I'm a stickler for the Sanskrit pronunciation. In Sanskrit, you know, there are certain consonants that in English we only have one way to pronounce them, like L, for instance. An L in English is always pronounced L, always, with the tongue forward in the mouth. L, always, love, lips. You know, always, the tongue is in a certain place. In Sanskrit, we might say L with the tongue forward, or we might sometimes say L with the tongue farther back in the palate. L. Yeah. So the name of Kali has this kind of L in it. Kali. Yeah. And the reason it's very nice to really nail those subtleties in the pronunciation, it's a small difference, it's just a small repositioning of the tongue. But the divine name is so sweet and so sacred and has such incredible Shakti in it that when we really, you know, refine that pronunciation, it's like, it shows that we really care. Not that we don't care if we don't pronounce it right. And what's really important is of course, our attitude when we sing these names is the most important thing. So then the next name, so Kali is the name of the Divine Mother in her most ferocious aspect. She's the slayer of egos. She's like the ultimate tiger mama, the fierce protectress. And then Durga is the slightly sweeter aspect of the ferocious Divine Mother. Slightly sweeter, you know, more beautiful in form, more, you know, more benevolent, but still, she's still brandishing an awful lot of weapons. So when we say Durgay instead of Durga, it's because we're calling Durga directly. It's where we're speaking to her directly. It's like saying, "Oh Durga." Okay, so Kali Durgay, Namo Namah. And this is another thing, you know, Westerners are always mixing up the A's in Sanskrit also. So because the way it's transliterated, the word Namah is N-A-M-A-H. When Westerners read that, they think it says Namah, right? Namah. But in Sanskrit, there's short A's, and there's long A, ah. So this particular word is Namah, and actually there's Visarga at the end of that word. If it's written in Devanagari, you'll see like a little semicolon at the end of that word, Namah. And so that means that it echoes the sound that comes before it, so it's actually pronounced Namaha. But because we're singing it in a chant, we're not going to make that full echo sound, so it just becomes a very soft H, but it's still a short A, Namah, right? Not Namah or Namah. Okay? And then the same thing happens with this word Jagadambe. So Jagat, the word Jagat means universe, and Ambe is a beautiful word for mother in Sanskrit. And but with the Sandhi rules, when we put those two words together, instead of it being Jagat with a T, it becomes a D sound. But it's not a D with the tongue forward, it's D once again with the tongue in the middle of the mouth. So it becomes Ja, and it's not Jagadambe, right? Not long A's, but short sound. Jagardambe, or Jagardambe, Try. Yeah. It's these are subtle things, but it's good to know. You know, I always really appreciate it when people correct my Sanskrit pronunciation because I like to know the right way, and I think most people probably like to know the right way, but no one ever tells them. So we're all doing our best trying to figure it out from what we're reading on a piece of paper. But unless you study Sanskrit, you wouldn't know unless you knew those rules. So Jagardambe. So to the universal mother. Yeah. Means you get a Sanskrit lesson and a kirtan.
In the Devanagari script, actually, the d and d, you know, there are different letterings.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and there's also d. So there's d with the tongue forward, or d, and d.
D.
Right, like Jagardodharini. Yeah. Woo! There's a lot of D's in Sanskrit. Yeah, sure.
Chants.